This is the story of 5 strangers.
Picked to live in a conference room, work together,
and harvest their educational ideals.
Find out what happens when people stop being polite.
And start getting real sassy.
What did they say was the thing with, like, if you pull up the thing in the rat and there's like something above your heading, that's gonna go away, right?
That we just want a normal distribution with a mean of 75 and a standard deviation of 9.
So like, tell them what about it.
Think of shit out of us too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we have Joe.
Yes, exactly. But this is something that I kind of want,
So are
Something
these
where
the
they-
actual lines here?
If you're going to, because you're going to have to round up or down. So would you rather go additional 5 centimeters?
Working. It worked. All right.
That's what that is?
Yeah. I think
Oh.
that thing has been running this whole summer.
Oh god.
I did not
Oh.
know that was the camera. And then they have one machine that can like communicate with all the servers at one time, and it's called a puppet. So I'm looking at this schedule and I'm like, they have a puppet show. And I'm thinking, what? That says a puppet show? That's gonna be so cute. Hello everyone. No. The puppet show is when they review the actual machine called the puppet. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So far, I've enjoyed the long walks to R.
The M&Ms.
Free M&Ms.
They burn a lot of calories for me to fill up in the cafeteria.
Free coffee. Coffee. Is that a word? Yeah, coffee.
The Starbucks on campus.
Food. Pretty much every day. Obviously, I like food.
The food.
And drinks.
The unlimited soda. Just kidding.
Some of the best things that I really enjoyed this summer was getting to work with some other educators from all around the Triangle area.
The relationship building.
Really being able to collaborate with such a diverse and great group of individuals.
My team.
The depth of, I guess, professional interaction.
So I was able to get a more holistic picture on education, and that's going to really influence my own teaching.
Being able to come here, learn from all of the different people that are here, from the developers to the curriculum specialists, to my own Teacher Institute participants. It's just really been an amazing experience, and I've learned so much.
Here in this corporate setting is where I've made some of the most meaningful relationships.
It's definitely been a community experience.
They had a plethora of ideas on different ways that I could engage my students in the classroom, even just talking about how what they think is really important in teaching kids.
I never felt coming in to work here this summer that I was alone in what I was doing that day. And that may have had something to do with us all having to share the same space, which has honestly been very cool.
Lifelong friendships have definitely been made.
Having that conference room, it made it like a real life fish tank, or dolphin tank rather, where all of us were like genuinely sitting around and discussing ideas and things that work.
I really appreciate that because this really helped me develop my own perspective on education.
Garrett and I have discovered that we were twins at 7 and 9. What is it?
We could do
63
63
over
and
81.
81. Great minds think alike.
And we can thank SAS for that.
The level of trust that the Curriculum Pathways team has bestowed upon us.
I know that the content specialist and Lucy, and Scott both took a risk on kind of unleashing us into this process.
To be able to come into the RAT and make changes and build lessons from the ground up with no experience whatsoever.
I've learned a lot about my content area, which is preparing me to teach 6th grade math when I thought I was going to be teaching 7th grade social studies.
I think overall my favorite part of the summer has been the dolphin tanks. I really loved being able to be creative, think outside the box, and develop some innovative ideas and have the chance to present them in such a supportive environment. I think that was something that was probably my favorite part of the summer.
I've also learned a lot about myself. And it's always great as a teacher to be able to reflect on what you're doing and how you can improve.
I've enjoyed becoming more professional. I'm really working on my listening skills, which sounds like a joke, but I'm a talker, not really a listener. Being in a meeting where a lot of people are saying a lot of good things is good listening practice for me.
One of my favorite words is synergy, and kind of what I've based my whole, philosophy of education around is that word synergy, and picking up every small piece and putting it in a blender and creating this one big beautiful picture.
Garrett and I love this thing. Sanitary.
Today is M&M Day.
Today's what?
M&M Day.
Yeah, so this is additional research. Friday morning, and that M&Ms are gone.
I hate it when this happens. Where are the bacon bits?
The yogurt machine is down.
Oh, there's this apple.
What did you work on while you were here? Mostly my figure.
The biggest chunk of time, was spent on the No More Print project.
No more printing lesson.
And more printing.
Going back to the long walks to the cafeteria.
I was able to get out one lesson for the month of July and hopefully another for the month of August release.
Transferring lessons that are already in curriculum pathways, transfer them into No More Printing.
I'm working with the language arts lessons and updating them to be able to use with the No More Print.
Working with the NMP project has been huge. It's been kind of frustrating at times.
I created about a dozen elementary science lessons that have been drafted. 3 of them are currently in the RAT and will hopefully go out for production before my time is done.
I also, however, worked on aligning resources to unit plans that already existed in CMAP, which is the curriculum management application that Wake County uses.
And the remaining ones I'm hoping to get into the RAT at some point.
Learned more about the RAT and a widget. I had no idea what that was before I came here.
I looked at pacing guides, I looked at standards, and then I would align CP resources with those units.
I really enjoyed writing my own children's stories based on the imagination and experiences with my own children.
I've written about 4 read-aloud stories, one of which I co-illustrated with Lisa Morton.
And working with Lisa to create the illustrations and having her great art kind of complement my stories.
And that one is hopefully going to be pushed pretty soon, I hope.
The lunch and learns,
Writing my own elementary lessons.
the dolphin tank.
But the main thing that I was working on this summer was composing a good number of questions for Data Depot, which is a big data repository.
I can't wait to give the last dolphin tank a run for its money. I've got like 4 things that I want to talk about that's just kind of been building and percolating.
I think it's a fantastic resource that Curriculum Pathways has put together, especially since we live in a data-driven world. Students are going to need to know how to read and interpret and understand data. So giving them real live data that is interesting to them is a great way for students to really engage in that data analysis.
And then blog writing.
I wrote 2 blogs so far.
Been able to work on blog posts,
And social media.
help out with Code Snaps events.
I'm all about some Twitter. I love Twitter so much.
I also spent some time creating math mini lessons, working with fractions are life, and decimals and percentages.
There's other social media outlets and everybody jokes on me about Flipgrid.
And so I just wrote the questions and answers that might help students look at data in a certain way, especially if the data is conducive to looking at a bivariate analysis or looking at histograms.
Anywho,
Getting students to write more about data and tell the story that the numbers are telling us.
We worked on critical evaluations for some of the current resources, and that was a really powerful opportunity to be able to have a voice in saying the things that we love and the things that we wish we could see in the current apps that are available to educators.
Being at ISTE, I had already signed up. I was going to go to ISTE on my own, but once I found out that I was invited to come work here this summer and that you guys were going to ISTE, that just made the experience all better. Having the experience of going to ISTE as a teacher, participant, and also a vendor, exhibitor, facilitator of the different sessions really gave me an eye-opening experience, and I would definitely say expanded my professional abilities.
My biggest challenge this summer has been trying not to eat all the food.
We're waiting in line.
It's not been good.
Here, you got your tray?
It's about time you're taking that back, tray thief.
Okay, it's only been 2 days. This is what I have stolen, so don't tell Lucy.
Alright, going to lunch.
Do we have enough space for Trey Bay? Can we put Trey in here?
All right, who's sitting in the car seat?
Me.
Buckle the tray in.
I was wondering where you put my welcome pads off.
Smells like chlorine. So kind of how my idea of education has changed is I'm realizing more and more, especially in the 21st century, that my role as a teacher is no longer the role of delivering content. There's content everywhere, and it's easily accessible, whether it be through content videos on YouTube or with resources like Curriculum Pathways that are free. Content is something that the students can engage with that I don't need to give them. I'm not the secret keeper of the content.
Having been a teacher in the classroom and used Curriculum Pathways products, and now being on the flip side of that and seeing the work and the communication and the build-up of a product release on this side of things at Curriculum Pathways, it just helps me to have a more fuller picture.
So my role as an educator now is more of a coach. The students can access the content, but how do I teach them how to use the content? How do I teach them how to really engage with the critical thinking process. And kind of the way my role has changed this summer is I realized that it is my job as a teacher to make sure that I not only teach critical thinking and make sure that students are improving in that area in critical thinking, but also that they're really excited to be problem solvers.
One of the things that Oliver, I'm gonna crucify this guy's last name.
You know, we're not trying to be like a content factory. Students are really need to learn how to engage and work with one another.
Schabenberger, one of the vice presidents of SAS.
It is my role to be kind of like a cheerleader, get them pumped up to get out there and solve some of the world's problems.
I'm gonna get so much trouble for saying his last name wrong.
And any subject, I think that you can make it as boring as possible, but I also think you can make it the most entertaining thing that they do throughout their day.
Anyway, one of his things he said was, it takes a village to develop software, and that couldn't be more true. Seeing the content specialists work, and then the designers and the developers all have their conversations and meeting for scrums and all these different things, and viewing that agile process has just been really eye-opening to me, and I'll definitely take that process back.
Well, teachers are always saying that they're preparing students to work in the 21st century global market. However, how can we prepare students for things that we ourselves have not experienced? So working at SAS, like I said before, being in meetings, collaborating with other professionals, being in a corporate setting has really helped me to tailor my lesson plans and lesson activities to truly preparing students to work in corporate.
I have a really unique opportunity for the job that I have because I get to go into classrooms and I get to help teachers find and utilize resources.
I could definitely see things like using code snaps to chart through professional development experiences.
Showing them Math Stretch and how my 4th and 5th grade teachers can really use Writing Navigator, or we can use code snaps with our computer science and coding electives.
I think some of that is missing in our curriculum, the skills such as collaboration, critical thinking, and working independently, because not all in corporate is team.
I think the biggest thing that I am going to take away from this experience is that I will be a forever advocate and unofficial spokesperson for curriculum pathways.
Really valuing yourself as an individual and your contribution to a group, people are kind of steering away from, but that's really what makes a group, all its individuals.
This experience, it has surpassed my expectations in what ed tech should look like.
I think a lot of times you, all who work at Curriculum Pathways, don't get to see that beneficial side of it. You know, there's sometimes where you may see things on social media like code snaps, you know, and those kinds of things, but some of the resources that have been around a while, like the Document Analyzer series in history, they are like so valid and they are impacting student lives every day.
Curriculum Pathways has so many things to offer, and I'm in a unique place where I get to help teachers kind of realize that and grow that network.
Another thing that sets Curriculum Pathways apart from other ed tech companies is this whole Teacher Institute. The fact that you are listening to in-service teachers, bringing us on, really truly valuing our opinion.
As a teacher, I appreciate those things, and so I'll definitely be promoting that throughout Wake County and in any capacity that I can.
I think this entire experience has been the perfect symbiosis of we as teachers are getting so much from learning about ed tech and the constraints and all that comes with it, while you all are picking our brains about what could improve the product. And I think it's the perfect blend to be a mutually beneficial experience for everybody. Garrett teaches us all about statistics and makes learning math actually pretty fun. I kind of wish I had him as a teacher because I don't like math.
Jessica, what's your favorite number?
2.
2? Okay, why is 2 your favorite number?
Because it's more than 1 but less than 3.
And more than 1 and less than 3. All right, I'm going to tell you what my favorite number is. 73.
And why is that?
That's a great question. I'm glad that you asked. So 73 is a prime number. It is actually the 21st prime number. Its mirror, or 37, is the 12th prime number.
Ooh, also a mirror.
Also a mirror with 21. Moreover, 21 is equal to what? 7 times 3. And this, we were talking about palindrome day a while back. Binary code, which is pretty much zeros and ones. So this is the ones place, this is the twos, 4, 8, 16, 32. It can be expressed as, I think it's 1. So this 2 is a palindrome, which means that its mirror is also 1 0 0 1 0 0 1.
I would love to see the elementary resources grow.
I would like to see more elementary resources.
More lower elementary and middle school math and social studies resources.
I think that's an area as teachers, and especially working with beginning teachers in my building, that there's so many different places that they can go for educational resources. So pointing them to a place like Curriculum Pathways, where I know we have pedagogically sound content, is where that's coming from, would be very helpful for them.
Things that I would like to see specifically would be some high interest but low level reading passages with comprehension questions.
Especially for the kindergarten through 2nd grade age range in math, that looks like building number sense with skip counting, subitizing, number recognition, place value, all of those things.
Virtual manipulatives in math, a place where students could go when they're at home and they don't have access to some of the manipulatives that we have in class.
And in social studies, that really looks like a more civics based, where we're talking about rules and procedures and community helpers. What does the firefighter do? What does the police officer do? What does the mail carrier do? So really focusing some activities around what part kids play in their home, their neighborhood, their community, and then the world.
Instructional videos for some of the Common Core strategies of math that are new for parents and for some students.
One thing that I am so excited about is the OER process with using the RAT and teachers being able to create their own lessons.
Rather than going to Teachers Pay Teachers or someplace like that, I would love for that next sort of step is to be Curriculum Pathways to become that.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and I would definitely love to be able to see more organic kind of grassroots projects like that pop up.
So we as educators, can find a great place where we can find really great resources, and we don't have to spend time reinventing the wheel.
You are enabling teachers and educators to use Curriculum Pathways tools to develop their own products and their own lessons. I think that's a real winner, and that's going to impact a lot of people.
One thing that I really like about Curriculum Pathways is the Data Depot repository that they have, but I feel like that there are not as many lessons in statistics, and being at a statistical company, I feel like that's a little bit strange.
I also think it's important not to let the newness of resources, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, the newness of resources shadow the richness of the old resources that are well-founded.
The one thing that I can definitely see an improvement of is adding more lessons in statistics, or maybe adding more lessons to work with a specific data set in Data Depot.
While Writing Navigator, Code Snaps, and a lot of these newer apps and things are amazing, and they are a standalone success and will be for a long time to come. Again, don't forget the resources that are already here and making huge impacts every day.
We are very much a data-driven society. We have all of this data, but we don't have many people that are data literate. So one way that Curriculum Pathways can help is to create more lessons on how to teach students to become more data literate.
I would really also like to see some more professional development courses. That's one way as educators that we can stay abreast of current research and different ideas.
And moreover, many teachers, even mathematics teachers, are not data literate. I'm the only person at my school that really knows much about statistics, and that is why I'm teaching it at my school, because no one else wants to, no one else feels like they can, because even people that are educated are not educated in the way that is vital to the 21st century.
Reflect on our own learning and continue to grow by taking those online professional development courses. I think Pathways offers a really unique way in the sense that you could do it individually, or you as a grade level team or a group could decide, hey, we're going to go through this together. And what great collaboration teachers would have by kind of going through that process together.
But I also think it would be awesome for the SAS leaders to come and talk to the teacher team and just kind of give us more of a big picture of what SAS does with analytics and just data in general, and how they see connections to education, and kind of challenging them to come to the classroom, so to speak, and say, all right, you know how to work with numbers, you see the big picture, you think globally, so come talk locally.
But you're my hero. Da-da-da.
Did you get
You
the
are
singing?
not the wind beneath my wings right now.
David and I like to sing.
Got them harmonizing.
And we're pretty good. We want to join the vocal motion.
There it is. Yeah.
What do you think what do you think is next? Oh God, I can't read.
I definitely think the next big trend in ed tech will be AI, and we've kind of talked about that this summer.
Scary.
AI is definitely on the rise.
It's really scary, actually. 'Cause I don't know a lot about it. Some people fear what they don't understand.
I think Hollywood has influenced a lot of the ways that people think about AI and kind of have that limitation of that filter. There's already technology out there where students are interacting with the technology back and forth, but it's not to the point where it's going to replace a teacher or replace a scenario where a teacher can contextualize the situation or differentiate on the spot.
Artificial intelligence and
I don't think AI is anywhere near, the ability to do that.
according to David, Flipgrid.
I love it. Flipgrid's amazing, but I'm not gonna talk about that right now.
I think personalized learning is the big new trend in ed tech. I feel like it still hasn't taken off just yet, but as the software gets better, as more and more schools have the ability to accommodate students with technology, I really do think that we are moving in a direction to where Student learning is still going to be collaborative, but it's going to be a lot more individualized as well. The tricky part there is that if you are personalizing learning, how do you make sure that they're still getting that collaboration? So I feel like it's still very much in the works.
I really see virtual reality kind of taking over in the next several years.
I also think personalized virtual reality experiences or virtual reality educational experiences are definitely something that's on the rise.
The school I work at, we have a population that is difficult when we're talking about writing about experiences or places because they've never been to the beach or they've never been to the mountains. And so having virtual reality field trips and things available for them so that they can kind of experience those in a different way, I think will really give our students opportunities and will open doors for them that they may not have known was possible.
I do think that as soon as educators finally get on the bus with that, they are going to just pick up. It's expensive, and so I think sometimes educational spheres will kind of object from jumping into that, but if you can find the right prices on certain things, it does make it cost effective.
I really would like to see more collaboration. We're starting, with Twitter and Twitter chats and people connecting that way.
Student forums. I think that in the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to see more platforms where students will be publishing their own work to be shared and collaborated upon by students all over the globe.
Connect those experiences for our kids, nouns and verbs and how to write in a context, but we have an authentic audience. They're building something, they're creating, they're collaborating.
The world is shrinking. There's research that supports that the larger the audience, the more meaning it has to a student. And so I envision there will be more opportunities for students to collaborate across the nation and across the globe.
What we really want in this world is for our children and for students to be creative problem solvers and be able to solve the problems and questions that come up in the future.
Little known facts about the Teacher Institute team. We all have a catchphrase. Garrett's is, "What time did you get here this morning?"
What time did everyone get here today?
David's is, "What time are we going to lunch?"
Why is 12 your favorite number?
It's because that's the time we go to lunch.
Jessica's is, "I'm weak." Got mom and dad up front.
I'm weak.
Mine is, "I forgot my badge."
Oh, I forgot my badge. We forgot our badge.
Amy's, I don't know if Amy has a catchphrase. She's good at coming up with diverse statements, unlike the rest of us.
I had the idea after hearing about the Scrum process, or the Agile process, and using Scrum to create like a weekly teacher team Scrum on Wednesday.
Yesterday, I spent most of the day working on questions, answering questions for Data Devo.
And then out of that, we also created personal Scrum. So we will get together and talk about all the personal life stuff that's going on outside the work.
But I'm just going through it, and for 2 of the tabs it'll switch to that, but when I try and select the other tab, it doesn't switch.
And we've really have become good friends.
The 4 C's are collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. It's hard to pick just one because I think they all work together, but I think if I had to pick one, I would say creativity.
Critical thinking.
I think the critical thinking.
Hands down, communication.
I would probably say collaboration.
Critical thinking.
There's less time for arts and creative thinking. I feel it's been a little bit stifled. Creativity is what develops innovative thinkers.
I would definitely say of the 4 C's, communication is the most important. When you talk about 4 C's in general, you think about a coming together of ideas, again, mentioning that synergy word. And if you've got people who are, thinking critically, they're creating stuff, and they're trying to collaborate, if they can't talk about it, if they can't communicate it, explain it, then you're not going to get very far at all.
Critical thinking, in my opinion, for my class is the most important of the 4 C's. The other C's are very important: communication, collaboration. Those are vital in any workplace, but I do think that in order to go that extra mile, I think it is incredibly important that students can think for themselves and also think about how they think about why they think the way they do.
Because today's problems aren't new problems. That's what you learn in history. Today's problems aren't new problems, but they're still problems because we haven't come up with better solutions.
And think about taking a look at a problem they don't know the answer to, and that's okay, realizing that I'm gonna have to think through this whole process.
In order to come up with the complex solutions to our reoccurring problems, we need to think critically about things, well, more critically about things. I'm not going to pretend like critical thinking isn't happening. There should just be more critical thinking.
Students should be able to think for themselves and not just be able to do what other people tell them to do. I want them to doubt everything, question everything, come to their own conclusions.
Creativity isn't just about creating art projects, it's about being resourceful, being a good problem solver. How are you going to find a creative solution to a problem that you have? By allowing students to be creative, you're providing them with some choice, and autonomy and agency is huge in student engagement. And the more that they're engaged, the more that they're learning, and the higher they're going to achieve.
I mean, you may get, certain places individually, just on your giftings and your talents, but if you don't have the ability to communicate well with others, you're not going to get very far. And that means taking risk and taking chances and talking to people that you normally maybe wouldn't talk to. People you see walking down the hallway that, I have a question for them, maybe I should ask, do it. You have not because you ask not. And when you have an idea, don't be afraid to talk about it.
I don't think we can teach students to be successful in today's world without teaching them to be good collaborators. With my background in kindergarten, that we always work on from day one is how to be a good collaborator and how to listen to what other people are thinking about, being able to get along and work with each other. From this Teacher Institute standpoint, we've grown and we've learned so much from each other, and that collaboration piece really makes for a more overall complete product when you're thinking about putting something out there.
I'm so glad I got this opportunity. I already feel like first year Teacher of the Year. I feel so prepared, so much more prepared than people in my position. Like, I don't think anybody's more excited than I am to teach 6th grade math or to teach in general.
And it's been a pure pleasure to work with Molly this summer just on the social studies projects, and I just love her to death. She's awesome, very sweet and genuine person, and I appreciate all of her encouragement and just working with me this summer and not getting upset at my inabilities sometimes.
That was really one of my biggest takeaways, is really how important computer science is and how I, as an educator, can promote that in my school.
It's been awesome. I really appreciate this experience. It's meant a lot to me as someone who has used curriculum pathways for about 10 plus years. I could definitely say this product is worthwhile.
However, if you're hiring,
good summer.
I could tell the classroom to wait.
And thank you to everyone on the Curriculum Pathways team who has contributed to that work over the past 10, 15, 20 years. Your work has not been in vain. The classroom teachers appreciate you, students appreciate you, and thanks for what you do.